Good afternoon, everyone. The world is becoming bitter and bitter day by day. Israel has declared a war against the Hamas. The Hamas earlier this morning calls for the Operation Al-Aqsa flood. Within the first 20 minutes of this declaration, 5,000 rockets were launched from the Gaza Strip in the Israeli territory. And this is worrisome. From the perspective of our examination, GS Mains Paper Second, it is important to understand it also from the perspective of preliminary examination mapping section as well as political science and international relations. Now, we are already seeing a war being waged by Russia against Ukraine. Another war is in the making and it has, of course, occurred. Are we moving closer towards the World War III? Let's move ahead and do not worry about making notes because I provide the notes through my Telegram channel that is by the name of Pooja Dwivedi UPSC. If you have any queries regarding this examination, please do talk to me on my Instagram. Follow me on Threads. So earlier, the military of Israel has said that a number of terrorists have infiltrated into the Israeli territory. Many soldiers have been taken as hostage. Also, many rockets within the first 20 minutes, 5,000 rockets have been launched from the Gaza Strip. The Gaza Strip is here sharing a border with Israel and the Mediterranean Sea, as you can see, and Egypt as well. From here, certain rockets have been launched. And Beersheba is one of the territories that has been restricted. But we have to know more about it. So Palestinian militants in the Gaza Strip carried out unprecedented infiltration. Militants fired dozens of rockets. Israelis have been taken captive by the Hamas. Now, as you see, Hamas has only said that over 5,000 rockets have been fired in the first 20 minutes. And the Iron Dome shield, very important and prominent defense system of Israel, has been activated. How does this work? This works like whenever enemy rockets are fired, radar system gets activated, it intercepts it, control system estimates what is going to be the impact point, and thereafter launcher fires missile to intercept like this. Missile explodes near rocket, destroys it. But the thing is that if areas are uninhabited, this system won't get activated. So we are seeing that areas that are inhabited, these are being attacked by the Hamas. That is why this Iron Dome shield system has been activated. Israeli army declares state of readiness of war. We have to be prepared for war. Hamas in occupied West Bank also called, people to arm themselves. It is asking for other groups, militant groups, to join them as well, such as the Hezbollah group. Also, it has been said that Palestinian Islamic Jihad has joined this call. So it is now kind of an all-out war. Although we have seen in the history that the wars with respect to Israel do not last very long. See, the Al-Qassam brigades, which is the military wing of the Hamas, announced a major operation against Israel. It involves firing thousands of rockets from the besieged Palestinian enclave towards Israel in response to the continuing provocation in Al-Aqsa. So now this is with respect to the Al-Aqsa region, Al-Aqsa Mosque, which is in the West Bank territory. All right. So keep in mind what is the relation between the two. So Gaza Strip is basically, it is ruled or de facto governed by the Hamas. Hamas has always shared the emotions for both the inhabitants of the Gaza Strip and for the West Bank. And that is why it is saying that whatever it is doing, it is in order to, it is like an answer to the provocation, whatever has been done in the Al-Aqsa Mosque. Moving on, Lebanon has also got a call from Hamas saying please send Hezbollah as well, which is of course backed by Iran. So many other countries are also going to be involved even if they like it or not. Moving on, the barrage of rockets which have been fired for the Gaza Strip during today's attack Palestinian fighters on Israel, it comes a day after the 50th anniversary of the October 1973 Arab-Israeli war. And this war was done able to take back the territories which were in control of Israel. Egypt and Syria both were a part of it because in the 1967 war, Israel occupied the Sinai Peninsula and the Golan Heights. So these two territories, Golan Heights, Syria wanted it back, and Sinai Peninsula, Egypt wanted it back. So this war was the 1973 Arab-Israeli war that just lasted for certain weeks, 3 weeks. It shook the world's economy as it is going to do now as well. It culminated in the Camp David Accords that saw Egypt become the first Arab country to establish diplomatic ties with Israel. The war known as Israelis as the Yom Kippur and to Arabs as the October War. We have to keep this in mind. Remember that. Israeli call it the Yom Kippur War and Arabs call it the October War. And that started when Egypt and Syria launched a two-front attack on Israel to regain the territories that they lost in the 1967 Six-Day War when Israel captured the Sinai Peninsula and Syria's Golan Heights. US officials have condemned this indiscriminate attack on Israel, of course, and let's talk about Gaza because Gaza is the center of attention today. Gaza is basically a small self-governing territory. It's Palestinian, and as you can see, it has a population of 2.1 million people. De facto, it is ruled by the Hamas. And it is just like, if you know about the size from Indian perspective, the size of Lucknow, or in South Africa, we have Cape Town or Detroit. Alright, and it is under the Israeli occupation along with the West Bank and East Jerusalem. 1967 Arab-Israeli War made it form a territory between Israel, Egypt and the Mediterranean coast. Since the Israeli blockade has been in place since June 2007, there has been an airtight land, sea and air blockade. All sorts of blockades are there. Israel controls Gaza's airspace and even territorial waters. Two of the three borders are under the control of Israel, and one that is by the name of Rafah crossing is under the control of Egypt. These are border crossings. So as you can see, this is the Gaza Strip and how it is controlled by Israeli territory. Okay, I hope you are getting the point of using maps, because maps are very important whenever we are talking about international relations. What is Hamas? Hamas is basically a militant movement, and it is to liberate the Palestinian territory, specifically West Bank and the Gaza Strip. It governs more than 2 million Palestinians in the Gaza Strip. Dozens of countries have designated it as a terrorist group, including the USA. But it is getting a lot of support by Iran and Turkey as well. Its rival party is Fatah, which dominates the Palestinian Liberation Organization, and it rules in the West Bank, where the Al-Aqsa Mosque is. Hamas basically is an acronym for Harakat al-Muqawama al-Islamiyah, which is the Islamic resistance movement. It was established in 1987 by Sheikh Ahmad Yassin, who was a Palestinian cleric, and he established it as the Brotherhood's political arm in the Gaza area during the culmination of First Intifada, which was a Palestinian uprising against Israel to take back the Gaza Strip, the East Jerusalem and the West Bank. To counter Palestinian Islamic Jihad, this particular Hamas militant movement was formed. But now the Palestinian Islamic Jihad has joined hands with the Hamas to get rid of Israel. Moving on. In 1988, Hamas published its charter, which called for the destruction of Israel, the establishment of an Islamic society in historic Palestine. See, Fatah, which controls the West Bank, has renounced all sorts of violent activities. But Hamas is still included in it. Hamas still considers violent movement against Israel. That is why Gaza Strip is not very stable. In 1997, the United States designated it as a foreign terrorist organization. It has a proper structure, hierarchy is there. It works through a hierarchy. We have the Politburo, which consists of 15 members, which is headed by Ismail Haniyeh. You have to know about the leaders as well. It is not important from the perspective of writing the names, but understanding it. Also, there is delegations which are about, such as Shura Council for West Bank Affairs and Gazan Affairs as well. So it has a proper hierarchy through which it works. Alright, it's the de facto authority in the Gaza since shortly after Israel withdrew from territory in 2005. Hamas won a majority of the seats in the Palestinian National Authority's legislature and formed a government through social service that it was doing. It also was against Fatah, the incumbent Fatah, and through a series of fightings, it was able to outserve Fatah, which did not sit well with the Western allies of Fatah. Now it is going in the West Bank, as in ruling in the West Bank. The party ousted Hamas from power in the West Bank. In return, Gaza, Hamas routed Fatah's militias in a week of fighting. So this was a fighting in itself. This particular organization had a fight against Fatah and the Palestinian Islamic Jihad, both. But now Palestinian Islamic Jihad has come together. We have to know about Fatah's situation. Alright, so how does it keep on challenging Israel? Hamas I'm talking about. First of all, its ways are violent. Suicide bombing is also one of its ways. Now, firing rockets and mortars into Israel after the group took over Gaza, it has been a regular thing. Iranian security officials have said that most of the weapons which have been used by Hamas, it has been given by Iran itself. And the Hamas later on, with the help of Iran Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps, was able to develop their own weapons, and incursions into Israeli territory is a normal thing for it. Most famously kidnapping Israeli soldier Gilad Shalit in 2006. And in 2014, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu said that there were also abduction of certain teenagers and killing of them. But Gaza Strip, the Hamas said that we have not done that. Instead, indications that a row cell committed it shows us that Gaza is not under complete control of the Hamas. So all this shows that within the group itself there is no such sort of certainty. Also, there are many militias that are able to destabilize the Gaza as well as the Palestinian Western Bank. All right, moving on. Now, if we talk about the 2021 conflict that happened, as I told you that it is reminiscent of it, we have to keep in mind that wars between Israel and Gaza is a generic thing that has been happening, but it has been resolved in the past as well. In May 2021, Hamas fired rockets into Israel following weeks of tensions that happened in the West Bank and Jerusalem area. It to bolster its reputation as the defender of the Palestinian emotions, because the elections back then got delayed. Also, this was an 11-day conflict. Hamas and Palestinian Islamic Jihad fired more than 4,000 rockets from Gaza. Similar to today's situation. They also coordinated with the IRGC of Iran and Lebanon's Hezbollah during the fighting. Hezbollah is also supported by Iran. But the United States and Egypt, they brokered a ceasefire to the conflict, and Israeli airstrikes back then, until that time, it killed more than 200 Palestinian civilians and costed more than $290 million worth of damage. Donor countries such as the USA have been mobilizing a lot of funds to build back, the damaged area of Gaza and Israel as well. But now we have to see what lies ahead and for how many days this war goes. Okay, so make sure that you are a subscriber to the Telegram channel so that you can get the full PDF of it. Thank you so much.